Always wanted to buy a Mazda CX-60 but can't quite afford to stretch that far? Well, here's an option that may be of interest to you. It's the new base model G25, and here I'm testing the absolute base trim, the Pure. It looks pretty much like every other CX-60. However, there are a number of big changes underneath it all to make this, quite interesting. For starters, it's powered by a 2.5 litre naturally aspirated petrol engine, producing 138 kilowatts and 250 Newton meters, making it the least powerful option in the range. Despite that, it's not actually the most fuel efficient, with an official average consumption of 7.5 litres per 100 kilometres. As you can see, the engine is mounted north-south, which means it's rear-wheel drive, which is quite unique for this class. Also interesting, this features an 8-speed automatic transmission, the same transmission as featured in the 6-cylinder models. However, in those you've got mild hybrid technology, so an electric motor is sandwiched in there somewhere. That's kind of the whole purpose of this transmission. It features 2 clutches really with the mild hybrid setup, whereas this it's just a single clutch, and it's just a little bit too complicated in my opinion for this type of engine. It's just a basic natural aspirated unit. There's no need for overcomplicating things. I'll show you what I mean when we go for a drive in a minute, but yeah, it's just not as smooth, a little bit clunky compared with a normal torque converter automatic. This is also the only package that features this engine and transmission combination. It looks pretty cool, I think, especially for a base model. I've got a bit of a thing for base models actually. I like the black plastic, non-painted, and even for the little side grille here, it's just the same black plastic. And around at the front, you've got some chrome trimmings just to dress it up a little bit. Definitely looks like a Mazda, but yeah, it doesn't really stand out compared with upper spec models like the Azami, which you can't get with this G25 engine. And then inside, nice cloth interior. The seats don't have that much bolstering actually, but they're pretty comfortable. Manual adjustment as well, and a fairly monotone trim. You've got plastic here. This top section is sort of soft, you can dig your finger into there, but this part here is all hard plastic. You've got a material trim going across there, some more plastic there that matches this section on the dash. It does look a little bit sort of bland in terms of the color scheme and so on, but it still has a pretty nice design in terms of the screen layout and buttons and all that. Plenty of physical buttons down here for your climate control. Dual zone climate is standard even on this base Pure. And you've got the kind of MZD Connect controller here for the touchscreen up the top. It's also a smaller 10-inch screen on the Pure compared with the 12-inch setup on the upper variants. Still comes with push button start though. I'll have a listen to this unit. It is pretty sort of tinny, and as you can see there, I'm averaging 9.1 litres per 100 kilometres, which is not that good, especially compared with the other CX-60 models you can get. Like the diesel, you can actually get very low. I think the official rating is in the 4s, and you can achieve definitely high 5s in the real world in that. So yeah, if you are looking for economy, this engine is not the best pick, but you are saving with the initial cost. So this starts from just over 44,000 excluding on roads, which is very cheap considering the CX-60 is classed as a premium mid-size SUV. So that goes up against the likes of the BMW X3, Mercedes GLC and Audi Q5. So 45 grand roughly, or 50 grand by the time you put it on the road. That's very cheap for a premium mid-sizer. You've got plenty of storage around the place, dual cup holders. There's no wireless charger on the base Pure, and a nice big center console box and armrest. And passenger space is pretty good. Apart from the thick center console, look how wide that is, just takes up a bit of at least perception of space. I mean, it doesn't really intrude on the knee room there much. If you're a bit taller, you know, your knee might start to run into that part, but yeah, it's just more about the perception of space. And you've got a good driving position. You can move the steering wheel in and out and up and down. You can pump the seat up and down as well, even on this base model. It's all manual adjustment, as I said. It's easy to find a nice natural position, at least my height. I'm 170 centimeters, but I feel like you've got plenty of clearance there for a headroom if you were taller, and you can roll the seat right back as well if you've got long legs. And up at the back, more of that base trim. You do have a flip down armrest, which is nice to see on a base model, with some cup holders. You've got climate vents in the back, twin charging ports, and pockets in the back of both front seats. You've also got a nice big bottle holder in the door. In terms of passenger space, my head's nowhere near the ceiling and legroom is very good for my height and my seating position. But even if you rolled that back a little bit, I think you'd still have a decent amount of room. The center console, the center driveline tunnel there doesn't poke up too much like it does in some of the German rivals, which are also kind of rear wheel drive based as well, so north-south engine. It just means, yeah, you've got that big chunky bit running through, but in this it's not too bad. Even in the middle here, it's pretty comfortable. My head's not getting close to the ceiling. My knees are kind of sticking up a little bit, but not as much as they would be in some of the rivals. Just the seat back is a little bit firm, as it is in most vehicles sitting in the middle. And up at the back, manual tailgate. There's no power for the base Pure variant. You do have tabs here so you can pop down the rear seats from the back, which is good to see. You've got some hooks down below there, 12-volt socket, and a space saver spare wheel under the floor. Rated at 477 litres, it is at the smaller end of this class. Like a lot of the German rivals have about 550 or 500. 477 is just a little bit lower than those. All right, let's go for a drive and I'll show you what this engine is like in terms of performance, but also how it affects driving dynamics. Then we'll do the performance test later on as well. So out on the road, what's this engine like? Is it a compromise compared with the 6-cylinder models? Well, firstly, this engine by itself is quite a nice engine. It's a bit noisy, but it produces decent power and torque for what it is, and it goes fine in other applications like the Mazda 3, CX-5 and so on. In this, although it is the lightest weight CX-60 you can get, it's still quite heavy, just under 1800 kilograms. It just means that when you're running around town and so on, it's fine, but when you're out on a country road like this, encounter some hills or fill it up with some people, you're going to be really pushing that go pedal to keep it in its sweet spot. And being naturally aspirated, you've got to rev it out to achieve any torque. So yeah, I'd expect a little bit better for a premium mid-size SUV, and I think that's the key thing. Because this is classed as a premium mid-size SUV, yeah, you've got to stack it up against BMWs and Audis and Mercedes-Benz and so on. And against those, this does feel just a little bit basic, a little bit tinny, and a little bit weak. I'll just slow down and put my foot down and show you. Definite delay there with that clutch transmission setup, and then it sort of buzzes and whines as it approaches, near red line. And you will be pushing it pretty high in the revs as well, especially if you're carrying some people or some luggage and up some slight hills. Like on the highway just before, I was driving along in, I think it was 7th gear at about 3000 RPM, and if you put it into 8th manually, it drops down, but it doesn't like it. It wants to get back up in those revs, and that's in the normal mode. You do have a sport mode as well. So in the sport mode, it obviously downshifts a bit earlier, and it's propping those revs up, ready for you to get going. But in the normal mode, it's quite sluggish, and it tries to maintain speed by using revs and just keeps those revs there, but then doesn't change down very quickly, as we saw. In terms of the handling, it feels pretty nice. The suspension, I think they could work on a bit more. It just doesn't, I don't know, there's something missing here that's just not confidence inspiring when you're really pushing it. But again, around town and so on, it feels fine. The suspension is not too jiggly. Even compared with some European models, this is not overly firm. Along here, we've got some bumps and ripples and so on. It feels all right. And with the base spec, with the Pure spec, sorry, you get taller profile tires, so that does absorb some of the impact as well. And the steering's quite nice. You've got decent communication coming through, so that does give you some engagement out on the road. And it's relaxing, it's smooth, easy to drive. Do I recommend this engine? Well, it's difficult to come up with a scenario where this engine comes out on top, because Mazda offers a massive range, including plug-in hybrid power. So you could, it's actually paired up with this engine. So you can use this engine when you need to, but then plug it in at home and use electric power and not use any petrol at all. And that becomes quite a powerful package as well when you combine the electric motor with this engine. But here by itself, I don't know, there's just not that much going for it. It's not particularly fuel efficient, it's not particularly fast. It feels about as quick as a diesel dual cab ute, which is, that's not that slow, I guess, but that's a diesel dual cab pickup truck. It's a commercial vehicle. This is meant to be a premium SUV. So it just depends on your take and on your positioning and whether you want performance and how high a priority it is to you. But yeah, for 50 grand, I would probably suggest buying an upper spec CX-5 or even a lower spec CX-80 or CX-60, but just with the inline six engine. It's not that much more to get access or to, yeah, have that inline six power under the bonnet, and I reckon you can get pretty similar economy even with the petrol inline six. Then you've got a nice engine sound. You've got the same sort of complicated transmission, so there's no sort of benefit with going with the 2.5. If this was a normal torque converter automatic 8-speed, then yes, I think this would make a little bit more sense, because I think that transmission, or this transmission, has some sort of hesitation and complicated elements to it that just make it a little bit off-putting. I mean, the rest of the vehicle stacks up well, so you've kind of you forgive it a little bit, whereas in this, there's no point in having this transmission. I think if it just had a normal 6 or 8 speed, it would make it more enjoyable to drive. But yeah, I'll just kind of show you what I mean. Slow down again. Even just taking off at the lights, it just sort of hesitates a little bit. And there's a kind of weird vibration happening at some rev points as well, similar to the inline 6 models, although I don't think it's as sort of evident as the inline 6 models, the vibrations. But yeah, you still got it there. So not a huge benefit going with the 2.5 aside from costs. It is good to see it comes with plenty of technologies though, even in base spec form, like you've got a proper surround view camera system and head-up display. All right, let's head off now and do the performance test and see how it goes.